Good morning. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Okay, first I'm going to pull a card before I get into this because I need to pull the card to actually ground myself um, before discussing this particular topic. And I'm just like, please don't let me pick oh yeah, because then I feel like I want to fuck some folks up. Um, and you guys know I use myself as my teaching background. All right, let's see what card was chosen. Oh, fuckers. It's transformation. Oh, I guess this tells where this is going. Transformation within, without. We tend to think of transformation as a significant change already completed. What the Big Bang and flash of a large fireworks display don't demonstrate are the numerous experiences, attempts, and missteps that contributed to the original idea to create a sparkler. Sometimes the sparkler itself, a mindset shift, a new perspective, an unfamiliar willingness, is tantamount to the spectacular 4th of July display, even though it appears small and seemingly insignificant. And the phrase is trust the wisdom of a sparkler. Good morning. Trust the wisdom of a sparkler. So I'm working through feelings of uh, betrayal this morning. And I'll talk more about this in the Sensual Energy Coven. So if you're a coven member, I'm going to process through this in there today. Like I'm going to process through the story in there today. But for the purposes of this live stream, uh, let's just talk about betrayal and loss and grief and how that plays out in subsequent relationships that we have. So the process this morning, just says so you guys kind of know. Like I got up, brushed my teeth, all that. I go into the kitchen to make my drink, and I'm looking for my mason jar, and the word betrayal just comes into mind, and I feel like somebody punched me in the stomach, and I'm like, I don't want to talk about that this morning because I'm working through it, right? But here we are. Betrayal. We've all experienced it in some way or another. Uh, in a relationship where we were cheated on, um, being abused by someone, a friend, who does something egregious, tells someone a secret about you, cuts you off. We've all probably experienced some varying degrees of betrayal in our lives, and it is a hard one. It can often leave us feeling like we did something wrong. It can often leave us feeling definitely the question of why, just why did that person have to be so cruel, so mean, so selfish, so insensitive, and oh, why would they do that to us when we were so kind, so loving, so caring? It Betrayal definitely puts us in victim mode. So everything that I speak about is from the perspective of an adult. If you were betrayed by someone in some way as a child, the process is very different because it gets into your psyche and starts to formulate and become part of the building blocks of who you are. We're not tackling that today, though. If some of this applies and it can work for you, depending on where you are in your spiritual journey, then I say take it. But for the adults, like people who were betrayed once the brain was fully formed, and maybe older teenagers, we can feel very victimized by what happened. And in an effort to protect ourselves, I should have meditated before I got on here this morning, so I'm gonna have to be real slow with it. In an effort to protect ourselves from future betrayal, we will often shut ourselves down because no one wants to feel that kind of pain, because it's loss. It's loss. It's death. And it's a death that your brain isn't often able to wrap itself around. And so we will say things like, I'm never giving my heart to anybody like that again. I'm never going to be open like that again. You know, I'm going to get them first before they get me. I'm sure some of you all have thought this, felt it. At the very least, you know someone who has. And we put up walls, which block us from processing through all of the feelings that come along with the betrayal. So betrayal is a loss of trust in someone. And that can shake us and cause us to have a loss of trust in a whole group. It could be that strong. A whole group. Betrayal is not an indicator. Now I'm going to talk about the person who's been betrayed. We'll talk about that in a minute. Betrayal is not an indicator of the betrayee's worth. Betrayal is an indicator of the betrayer's inability to handle uncomfortable conversations and decisions. The betrayer cuts people off or walks away or dismantles the trust because they do not have the tools to handle the truth of who they are. That's on them. They cannot handle their truth. This is why it's so important for everyone to understand the core of who they are and what their truth is. The person who's been betrayed. The person who's been betrayed, as much as this is a hurtful experience, it is also an opportunity to grow and deepen into your ability to receive. And I know that sounds like some fucked up shit. I know it sounds like some fucked up shit. But if you're watching this, there may be and you're still watching it after I just said that, then you may sense a piece of truth in that for yourself. Some of you might be like, fuck that, I'm out. I get it. Because we're all at different places and none is better than the other, we're just all different places. When you are betrayed, it is an opportunity for you to feel through the stages of grief and anger and sadness, and to really immerse yourself in riding the wave of this human experience on the woo metaphysical level. More on an earthly level, it's an opportunity for you to see where you saw little flashes or intuitive hits about the behavior of this person and what they were capable of. Because usually people don't flip a switch. But we are betrayed because we often have set up a vision of who we think this person is, but we're not actually looking at who they are. We're not paying attention to the truth of who they are because we want so much for them to be the person that we think we see in front of us. And part of the reason why we're so devastated in betrayal is because a part of us knew that they were capable of this behavior. A kernel that we did not look at to unravel. And this doesn't mean it's our fault that we were betrayed. Then that's why we have to start living in the world of duality, where we only think like one thing can be true at a time. It doesn't work that way. We can be blinded by the truth of who a person is. It doesn't make something our fault. We have to get out of this idea of blame. And the reason why we like to blame people and point fingers is because it helps our rational mind understand what happened. It wasn't me, that person did it. Okay, so if I stay away from those people or that, then it won't happen to me. Blame is a safety mechanism. It gives us a false sense of as long as I avoid that, then I won't feel that type of pain again. You understand? Does that make sense? So this does not mean that if you were betrayed by someone, that it was your fault. We've established that the betrayer clearly has some issues. And we all have issues as human beings. Like none one of us is walking this earth perfect. Not one. Some of our issues may be deeper than others. Some of them may be deeper in one area and lighter in the other. I mean, there's varying degrees to this shit. And we really have to begin to see that. So yes, the betrayer has clearly has their own shit. That does not mean that you don't. I personally don't subscribe much to the feeling of being a victim. And I've been in some situations in which I could feel justified in our society to call myself a victim. I also don't bypass the fact that the shit is fucked up. That the experience is fucked up. The experience I'm going through right now is fucked the fuck up. It doesn't mean that I'm a victim of it. Because when we think of ourselves as victims of a situation, we have no power. We have no power whatsoever. We just gave it all away. And then we harden ourselves, put walls up, which then prevent us from receiving. You can't receive if you're not open. You cannot receive love if you're not open. And some of you are wanting to be in love and in relationships and have really good sex, and you're not able to, it's not able to penetrate you because you're not open. And in order to be open, you have to feel the sadness and the grief, and you have to go into it. You have to go in it and let it take you on the ride, and you have to trust that you're going to come back up out of it. And if you don't trust that you can do it on your own, then you find someone who can be there with you and make sure that you don't stay in that down space. But you have to go through it. You have to ride the wave of feeling that like someone punched you in the chest, like they hit you in the gut. You have to do the doubled over tears. You have to do the screaming. You have to get it out of your body. Otherwise, you will find yourself creating a prison that you think keeps you safe, but keeps you alone and miserable and unable to connect with other human beings. And here's the thing. After betrayal, when you allow yourself to go through all of that stages of grief and all of that, and come out the other side to the acceptance that, you know what, this thing happened. This thing did happen in my timeline of experience. Right here, this little dot, this thing happened. It doesn't define my experience, but it definitely opens different paths to my experience. And it is probably going to increase your inner intuition, lessening the chances of that type of betrayal happening again, because you'll be open. You can't really be intuitive and see into the truth of a person if you're closed. You got to be open. You got to be open so you can let their energy hit you, so you can say, yeah, so you can say, ooh, you know what? I felt that before. I know it might look different, but nope, I know that energy. Deuces. But we can't do that unless we're open, and we can't be open unless we go through all of the stages of the sadness and the anger. And the anger is where a lot of us get stuck. The anger is where we get stuck. That motherfucker did so-and-so to me. That bitch did this to me. Fuck them. I'ma fuck them up. I'ma cut a bitch. I'ma all the shit, right? All the shit. Right? Nah, I'm never gonna let another woman near me again. Nah, this heart is up here, it's mine, and nobody else is gonna get this. Nah, fuck that. Fuck them. And we stay stuck in the anger part, because the anger protects us from feeling the sadness. We don't want to feel the sadness. We don't want to feel the, I can't believe that happened to me. We don't want to feel the, how could they do that to me? But again, if we don't allow ourselves to work through that, and we carry that anger as an armor, and then come out into this world talking about, yeah, I would love to be in a loving relationship. The fuck you won't. You can't be, because it's going to hit like this. It'll bounce right off you. And then you kind of find yourself attracting the same type of people who were betraying you, because you're still emitting, you haven't released yourself from that frequency. This is how powerful you are. You know, as human beings, we can overcome just about anything. We are so incredibly resilient. We can overcome just about anything. It doesn't mean that it doesn't come. And let me just, part of the reason why betrayal is it hits us so hard is because somewhere a lot of us still think that if we're good or if we're nice, then like bad things won't happen to us. Bad, whatever, you know, these words, good, nice, bad, that these things won't happen to us. And we stop. First, your experience as a human is going to be filled with a lot of things that, and I say experiences because I feel like, and this is my personal opinion, when we see it as an experience, then we don't make it a definer of everything else, and we don't allow it to cloud everything else that happens in our lives. It doesn't mean it's not painful. It doesn't mean it's not uncomfortable. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt like hell. But we don't have to use that to determine the trajectory of our life, or now how we define ourselves or see ourselves. We don't have to do that. Some of us choose to do that, and it is a choice. And look, I'm all for therapy. I'm all for walking on hot coals. I'm all for um, um, medication. I'm all for meditative retreats, like whatever it is that you feel called to do to help you process through this, that's preferably legal and, doesn't involve you harming someone else. We just got to say that, because some people be like, oh no, I'm gonna feel a lot better. I'm gonna feel a lot better once I handle this. No. Then do those things. The betrayal can be an opportunity for you to engage in deep self-care, to take time, which is what I'm doing. I don't have much to examine in my situation. I saw this coming. And the sad thing is I'm in shock, but I'm not in shock. Like, I'm in shock because it's like, wow, it really actually happened. But I'm not in shock because I knew it was going to happen. So I'm also angry with myself. I'm also angry with myself for not for hoping, but for staying somewhere where I knew what the outcome was going to be. Because I'm not closed off. I'm not, my intuition is open. I feel people. And you know how I feel about that. Like, we can all feel people, right? So again, this is not like we can all do this, right? But I've done an immense amount of work in which I can feel it. So I knew I saw it. And here it is. And so part of me is angry with myself. Like, the fuck, what else outcome did you think was going to happen? You were over here hoping that that person wasn't going to do what you thought they were going to do, what you knew they were going to do anyway, knowing. So sometimes when we're betrayed, we've betrayed ourselves. I betrayed myself. I didn't trust me. I put my trust in someone else and not myself. See, so I need to put my trust in myself first and then in someone else. Because if I trust myself first, I'll be much more discerning about who I put my trust in. Does that make sense? So I betrayed myself by not trusting me, by not listening to my own intuition and my own thoughts. And I found myself in a similar situation last weekend as well. But here's how this works. When you like phase one, let's say you don't trust yourself, you don't know you don't trust yourself, you get into some situations, right? And let's say then you've done a little growth work or some inner awareness. Phase two, you still don't really trust yourself, but you can kind of get an idea that this person is not, it's not kosher, but you're between phase one and two, right? And so you meet somebody and you're getting some some static, but you're like, nah, but it seems like, and so you trust them, you're not fully trusting yourself, and then betrayal hits. And then phase three, you're like, again, if you've done the working and that's stuck in like the anger and like, I'm gonna cut folks up. Phase three, you trust yourself. And so when something happens, you're like, ooh, no, no, that's not happening here. And phase four is just real chill. It's like, wow, okay. Oh, look, there that goes again. Nope, bye-bye. You smooth with it. You smooth with it. Because you're grounded and trusting in you. So the betrayals they're not happening the same as they did when you were like 19, 20. When you weren't fully formed yet in that space, and you told somebody something and they went and told like five people, and everybody knew your business. And it's like, oh, that first hit, right? For women especially, a lot of us are like, that's why I'm not close friends with other women, because I was betrayed when I was like 16 years old. I had a best friend and she read my diary and she took the guy that I wanted to be with, or she told this person this thing about me. And so that's it. No friends with women. And then y'all get into your 40s and you're like, I need some friendships with women. I need to feel close. I've gone like 20 years now and I don't have that female connection. Right? Y'all, especially for the women. I know, because I've been there, and I've also been a betrayer. I've been a betrayer. I have had friends trust me and had my own selfish actions. I'm gonna share this, and then I'm gonna go. And sometimes, and I've had to stop calling myself a good or kind person, because I realized that there were parts of me that were fucking. I don't like to call myself a bitch, but yeah. So, can't believe I'm about to tell you this story, but I'm gonna tell you this story. I moved out on my own. Ooh, this is a tough, vulnerable share. I'm just being honest. So I because it hurts me that I did this. And this is just one of the many stories I'm sure I could come up with as a betrayer. All right, let me stop procrastinating about it. I moved out on my own when I was 22, and I moved in with a friend of mine from high school. She and I were like, sisters. We were tight, we were close. And the one thing that she told me was that she did not want to live alone. She and I were very different that way. I probably could have lived alone. I like being alone. And she was not, that's not where she was at that stage in life. And so I knew that. So we moved in, got an apartment in Brooklyn. Like, I'm saying, we split and run. I'm 22. It's New York City. What? Yes. We moved in July. I still have the lease. We moved in July. I had met who would then be my husband. I didn't know that at the time, but I'd met him earlier that year, like May. Well, a couple of months earlier, May. So I meet him in May. He knows I'm moving out. Like, we're friends. I move out, with my friend in July. Me and Jabari start dating, and we out. If you know the story of me and my ex-husband, and you know that I saw all the things and I ignored them. I ignored them completely. So that's a whole nother story. So we start dating, I figure, yeah, I'll be in a relationship, like I'm thinking like it's a cool thing. I'm betraying myself by doing that. I'm betraying him in some ways as well. And so I move out in July. In December, I haven't lived in my place a full, like, December. He's like, you should, keep some of your stuff at my house. And of course I'm like, yeah, cool. Now I got some stuff at his house, I'm like, I'm all young and foolish. So I got a little drawer there. I put some stuff there. He's like, you should bring your TV. I bring my TV over. I start spending more time over there. I start moving stuff over there. And by the end of January, I'd pretty much moved out of my apartment. And I thought, well, because I was still going to be paying my half of the rent, that it was okay. I was selfish, caught up in whatever fantasy world I was building, and I betrayed my friend. And I lost my friend. To this day, we're friends on Facebook, but I lost my friend. And we met And she told me, she's like, you knew I didn't want to live alone, because now she's in this apartment by herself. She's like, you knew that and you left. She's like, and you paying the money. She's like, that's, but she needed that security, that safety, right? Whether she should or shouldn't have needed it is not the question. I betrayed her with my actions. So, as I say this all to you, and I will continue to process this in the coven. I'll probably do a video for those of you in the coven. I don't feel like I want to do a video. I might type, I don't know yet. I have to see how I feel. As I'm saying this all to you, I'm working through my anger at my friend who I feel betrayed me. Because it hurts like hell. I never, I want to say I never thought they would do this. I want to say that, but I kind of thought that they would. And I've done it as well. And so this is just part of my journey. At the end of the day, this is just some fucked up shit that I'm gonna have to process for me. For me. It's not about that person, or anyone else. I have to process this for me. If you've been betrayed by anyone, you have to process it for you to set you free. Because ain't another motherfucker gonna prevent me from experiencing the love, gratitude, wealth, good fucking and shit that I know this whole body and spirit deserves. Oh, no, no, no. You're not about to determine the path of my life with your actions. By the way, my friend who I moved out, she ended up moving in with someone else, and then she ended up meeting a man and ended up, having a beautiful daughter. And so there, she ended up with something wonderful and beautiful, and I'm so happy for her, that's the life that she now has. I mean, because shit, I ended up divorced from the dude that I moved out with. You know what I'm saying? I ended up getting divorced. I ended up in like a fucked up toxic relationship, and I ended up getting divorced. That it was rough and it hurt, and our friendship is not a thing. But damn, I mean, she's, I can see the pictures and I see her posts and stuff, and I'm like, and my heart is happy for her. Right? So, shit happens. So this is part of my journey. And that's the acceptance part. And just because I've now accepted it, thank y'all for coming to this TED Talk. just because I've accepted it in this moment doesn't mean I'm not going to still have moments of anger. Because I will. Doesn't mean I'm not going to still have moments of sadness. Because I will. But they won't stick. And they won't fuck up my day. And I'm not going to sit and wallow for a whole day about it. Like, I'll be angry and then it'll pass like clouds in the sky. Because I've accepted the fact that this friendship has clearly run its course. It's just run its course. Like any other relationship I might have, it's run its course. And we'll probably see each other again someday, me and this person, because we have some similar circles. And I'll say hello. Because I'm good. The reason why they can't speak to me anymore says a lot about the life that they're now building and the prison that they're putting themselves into. And so in some ways, as much as I felt anger and betrayal, I feel compassion for this person who, as much as we've talked about things, they were not able to live more in the truth of who they are. They just weren't able to do that. And that's their path. It's not mine. So, all right, that's it for today. That's it. Now I'm gonna go meditate. I just feel like I sloughed something off here. I need to I need to wash away the rest of it. I need to sit with this for a little bit and then get my day started. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching the replay. This will be up on YouTube later. Do I even want to put this one up on YouTube? I do. um, again, Vixen applications are open. We'll be doing stuff like this in Vixen, by the way. We're going to dig in. We're going to excavate. We're going to dig out. Because you can't be your most open, authentic self while you're holding on to hurt and betrayal. So it's going to be dirty. Vixen is dirty. But if you're ready to get dirty, DM me. For the ladies in the coven who are watching this, I will pop in there later. I see lots of messages I need to get to, and I'll respond to posts later. And I will also post more about this later in the group. All right. Love you all. Bye.